Welcome to Micka on Influence, your go-to podcast for bold conversations and impactful insight into influencer marketing, content creation, and the ever-growing creator economy. Every week, we are diving deep into real stories, smart strategies, and game-changing moves, shaping this dynamic space. From top creators to brand strategists, CMOs to media planners, we bring you raw, actionable insight straight from the front lines. This is where influence meets intention. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Micka on Influence. It's the podcast where we explore the worlds of media, marketing, influencing, and how it all ties together. Now, joining me today, Brenda Wachira, the account executive, or rather, the account director at EXP Kenya. Brenda, welcome to the show and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Micka, for having me. I'm very happy to be here today.
Now, for our listeners and viewers, tell us a bit about your journey into experiential marketing and how you became the account director at EXP Kenya.
Wow, very interesting question. My journey into experiential marketing is a very long one. My background is in statistics. So I want to get back into the thing that I really love the most, storytelling, from my childhood. My relationship with my father was a lot of so I really wanted to go back into the storytelling. So I moved from my statistic background into the media space, and I went back into telling human media houses across the world. Then I moved into agencies, and here I am now.
And in your personal opinion, or in your words, what sets EXP apart from everyone else in the industry?
EXP is a very unique agency in that we are Africa's largest fully owned agency. We have fully staffed offices in 7 countries and partners in another 5 countries across Africa. And for us, even in the teams that we bring in, we bring in extremely good experiences, and most recently, we started partnering with digital partners who give us the live class experience. So our experiential marketing is not just a text that we are picking; it's an extremely emotional experience where we bring our customers with us throughout the brand journey, with us to ensure that at the end of our experiential activities, we stay top of mind for our brands. We stay top of mind in the consumer's mind. Whenever they go shopping, we are the first person they think about. For us, it's more than just about setting up a tent. It's an emotion experience for our customer.
Absolutely. I mean, experiential marketing has evolved significantly over the last decade or so. How would you describe the current state of experiential marketing, especially in East Africa?
So, as I mentioned, it's more than just pitching a tent and handing out branded food. So, experiential marketing has evolved where we now have to bring our customers into a journey together. Find that a lot of brands focus on the big picture marketing. They're focused on the TV, on the radio, on the billboard, and our consumers feel very detached of that kind of marketing. So experiential marketing plays a very significant role in bringing the consumer together in their brand journey, so that then you always consider your product when they're purchasing it. So for us, especially when now we're talking about the new modern way of experiential marketing, we now even bring in our influencers to the ground. We have a very close attachment to their audiences. The ones who pull our crowds for us, pre-activation and during the activation. And we find that especially when we utilize our micros and our nano influencers, the impact even on the bottom line of any brand that we use them for extremely higher than we just do branded spend and branded spend.
I'm glad you touched on micro and nano influencers. How has influencer marketing become a toolkit for experiential marketing?
So there are few challenges that we face in experiential marketing. First, it's with the local reality where you find that a brand may be trending online, but when you go on the ground, things are very different. The footfall you find is very different. So we bring in influencers because they already have unity that they feel. When you look at nano and micro influencers, it's very interesting that they are the ones who drive purchase even more than our celebrity influencers are feeling. Because you find that that micro influencer, they may not have millions of followers, but the 3,000 followers that they have are even people that they most likely know personally or who know them personally. So they right the consideration for purchase better, like a celebrity influencer who we all aspire to get and all. But for micros, they, they're better to us. Your brother, your sister, your colleague. When you see them using a handbag or a specific product, so we want of because you're saying that working that you're already seeing,
Yeah.
they're more relatable in short to our.
That's so true, and definitely more relatable. It's a lot easier to expect a proper review from a nano or micro influencer than a quote unquote celebrity influencer, if I could put it like that. Sometimes. You've recently worked with us on the Predator Kenya influencer campaign. Now, from your perspective, what made that Kenyan market so unique, especially for this type of influencer led activation?
Um, the Kenyan digital space is very, very interesting. It's extremely vibrant across all social platforms. The latest statistic that we've seen, especially say on a platform like TikTok, is that daily usage 54% Kenyan. So you find that when you're any space, when you're in a mall, when you're in a public transport vehicle, with a motorbike or a minibus, even on TikTok. So what is different about our market is, first of all, our audience is very tech savvy. They know what they want. They always have their ear on the ground. So you cannot play them. You cannot be cheap with them. So you have to tell them what is actually that they're seeing in the product or service that was displayed. And secondly, we do have an extremely saturated influencer platform space. We have so many influencers. So Affinity, it gave us a different way of measuring our influencers based from how are we sourcing, who are we using as influencers, what nuances do they have that tie into the consumer talking to. So for that Predator campaign, for example, it was an under the crown campaign, a national campaign where we needed to drive purchase of a Predator, which is an affordable energy drink. And then when we drive purchase, needed our consumer to then crack the tab and SMS the code to a short code. Uh, so our purpose for using influencers was using influencers attracted our consumer from a local perspective. So we use regional influencers who spoke in local languages. This way, we were able to connect even with audiences who are not within like not within the city or in rural areas. That was one of them made us sustain, just going closer to the people, giving them closer to them.
Fantastic. And what were the main objectives for the Predator campaign? How did you kind of align influencer marketing with on ground experiential elements?
So the beauty of why we use now expressions as a department in EXP with expression put it on the platform Infinity. EXP was handling the on ground. So we were able to bring our influence to the of the campaign. We even had several We did have our ATL push. We did have our on ground activities in terms of influencers into our radios, in our giveaways, our winners, really enhance experience content and post their platforms, ensuring that uh, a lot of when our audience seeing that influencers award a winner with that campaign, they were able to see this on TV, see it on the platform. Then we were able to go even further.
Marketers want a crowd of real fans of your brand shouting your praises. The Salt has South Africa's biggest nano influencer community, over 500,000 subscribers strong, turning authentic stories into results you can measure. Think word of mouth, but supercharged, with trusted voices and real-time data to back it up. Our creators don't just spread the word, they build credibility and loyalty that sticks. Ready to tap into SA's largest network of brand champs? Reach out to the efficient team at thesalt.co.za and book your next campaign. Then sit back and watch your reputation and sales take off.
Thanks, Brenda. And then, would you say there's any standout moments for you personally about this campaign?
A really good standout moment. Winner handover ceremony. Like, so here, like I mentioned, we would award ceremony. I would bring our winners from wherever they are in the country, and you'd find that a lot of our winners were wide. In this way, we had, our winners meeting some of the people who all, uh, and we had a winner for people who support us because of an influencer who they buy this product, you'll stand a chance to win, or they won. Went to a the influencer was there, so I think that was every day on TikTok. So it, and, a full circle moment for that win, and we took energy got in to that moment. It was just about that extremely event for that consumer because I know for sure, even when I spoke to them last week, they still drink that it's not gonna drink any other energy drink. I don't think for a long time.
Yeah, because of the great experience that they had, and that's fantastic. How important are cultural nuances, especially in designing effective campaigns in Kenya and East Africa as a whole? And talk to us more bit about what those cultural nuances are.
So one of the largest cultural nuances are in terms of language and local language cues that we use. As I mentioned a little earlier, we did select um, from the regions in Kenya. So there is local language. You find that a lot of our social media platforms are very friendly to local languages. So that's why we did that direction. Um, and getting an influencer who could speak the language of our consumer was very important. And then some of the local nuances are like what we call Enganya culture, which is the mini culture. I'm sure any listening here has seen very cool Kenyan matatus or mini buses, and these are cheap across Kenya. So we were able also to send our influence matatus to communicate to the people within matatus, to dance to the music matatus. It was really interesting campaign where um, we leveraged on where our audiences are and the moments where their energy, their way to work, on their way from work, when they're running the errands, these are the places are. So that
Thanks for sharing. And yeah, cultural nuance is so important. It's important to connect to your audience on concepts on a different level. And sometimes those little words, that slang language, those little phrases that we use in our day-to-day talk is exactly how we get there. Now, influencer marketing has been criticized a lot in the past, being very numbers driven. But your work, it blends data experience as well. How do you balance the two, data experience with being very numbers driven as well?
Um, of course, every brand has numbers in the bottom. So for them, it's about the numbers. So for us as an agency, is give a balance about the experience that you create, the creative experience, and the KPIs that we have. So especially for influencers who are able to create channels, influencers are strong on Facebook, others are strong on Facebook, not on Instagram. The right channels is very, very important so that then your influencer is not shooting blind. They're posting on the platforms where that perform best, how they have the most engaged audience. And the best part about our Infinity platform is that we're able to check which influencer has the most real followers versus the fake followers. And when you weed that out, it becomes very easy to then see the impact the content is having with the audience, online audiences, because it's a 10% fake audience versus an influencer who has a 30% fake audience. Find 30% audience influencer is performing a lot better if their audiences are more engaged. It was about looking at the kind of content that they're posting. It was very important for us to ensure that our influencers stay authentic. As much as they're selling the brands, how do they stay authentic to the content that they produce? So while we gave them guidelines on the kind of like see the kind of movement we like to capture, they had creative freedom to create their content wherever they feel and give us a product that is completely authentic. And that really, really worked for us. Not what the people right pathways and then and finding the people pathways because of the content coming to us and telling us, I really love this campaign. I really love it keeps your influencer online and in person. So that was really how we balance the numbers, the data, experience of how our customers feel.
Oh, thank you for that, Brenda. Now, what are some of the misconceptions that brands have about experiential marketing or even influencer partnerships, especially in this region?
The biggest misconception is that followers mean big impact.
Yeah.
We've mentioned here that micros and nanos do have a big impact, especially the bottom line, because they are the biggest driver of consideration to practice. That is the one of the biggest misconceptions. So you find brands more towards celebrity influencers, really expensive, and then the impact that they have to the bottom line is very minimal because they are an aspiration to a large majority of our audiences. Another misconception is that influencers only do awareness. No?
Mm-hmm.
Influencers are not only about awareness, they have the ability to increase the love that consumers have towards the brands. That's what even influencers. Something to even as a brand, if you don't face it, for example, if they tell brands they want pay, it diminishes the kind of brand love you get from some our audiences. So it's not just about awareness, it's about then driving the brand love from our consumers and our audiences. Another big misconception is that one big celebrity influencer is going to fix everything. Going to fix your marketplace. They're going to ensure that you have sales. Really, that's not how it works. Uh, Again, big followers do not equal big.
Mm. Mm. Well said. I love that. Now, for brands wanting to activate in Kenya or even in East Africa, what should they absolutely understand before launching any campaign?
Um, Before launching a campaign, each brand needs to understand that East Africa is a mobile first economy.
Yeah.
We are all on our mobile phones. When it comes to mobile phone penetration, internet penetration, we are among some of the leading countries across the country. So your strategies need also to be mobile first. We also think that our consumer is going less and less for and uh, opting to shop more on their phone, on their computers, on their iPad, on their tablet. So again, very mobile fast. Again, it is that East Africa is not a highly cash economy. It is a mobile money economy. For example, any shop you go to, enter a transport vehicle, you pay using your phone. You pay using M-Pesa or Airtel Money, whichever other mobile payment platform. So brands need to understand that this is very mobile first economy. There are also the local seasonality in the calendar, school periods, when, for example, up in December, it's big holiday, all kids are home, from your visions, with your marketing activity. Find some brands during this December period, they go slow, their activities because they say it's a slow season, but this is a actually ramp it up. Another misconception is that there are times that you need to slow down on your marketing. Yeah. We have seen some brands, they do one big campaign and then they go completely down. If back above the line, they go down on digital, they do potential, and there is no place for brands to go ever. If you go dark, you get forgotten.
Wow, so powerful. If you go dark, you get forgotten. That is definitely a standout line. I love that. What trends do you, Brenda, predict will shape the future of experiential marketing over the next few years?
Um, Focusing on micro and nano creators in the uh, any brand. As much as yes, let's have about every influencer, but let's have more of the micro and nano influencers if we want to focus on our bottom line. A creator-led commerce, meaning that giving influencers parts sales or giving them checkout links, offer codes for their audience. This is always gold star your bottom line, and this is the trend that we should be implementing and making a standard that all are to have a direct buying path for their audience. Short form videos is also something that is not, I don't think is going to stop trending. Videos is now how we communicate. Um, even of live shopping events, street activations, this is the way to go. Even just as experiential agencies, we really need to focus more on short videos showing what we are doing for our brands on the ground and giving other brand ideas on what. Um, then, in terms of transparency, data transparency, and measurable impact, we need to have the attribution method of how we are attributing the leads we're getting, our sales are coming, especially at this hybrid campaign, because our campaigns now are hybrid. We are above the line, we're going digital, we're going experiential, we're going programmatic. How do we attribute our sales or top of mind, all the that we are running?
Fantastic. Brenda, as an account director, do you have any advice or tips for young upcoming marketers that wants to make a great career like you did in experiential marketing?
Wow. A tip that I would give young marketers is build your network, build those relationships with a lot of partners, with vendors, with the network, as we say, tool, and that's to anyone even who get into the marketing space. You also need to get comfortable with your numbers.
Yeah.
Because every brand, as I mentioned, is looking at the bottom line. So whether you're doing awareness, whether you're doing still a lead generation, or you're pushing people, building a market product, you need to show your brand the numbers that you're going to bring. And then at the end, then you can tell them this is what we are at 10,000, we achieve 12,000. You know, I believe numbers are going to come up all day, every day. For women who want to get into the market space or are in the market space and want to level up your own space, be visible, your visible agencies, uh, do not shrink yourself in this space. Let's take up as much space as possible so that you can be seen and you can be heard.
Wonderful advice. Thank you. If you could describe the Kenyan consumer in just 3 words, what would they be?
The Kenyan consumer is very sophisticated.
Love that.
They're also social. We see them global. Mention Kenya in any of your social media platforms, and you're going to see Kenya's blog. They're also very resourceful. They know deal, they know where the deals are. You cannot hide from them. They are extremely resourceful.
I love that. Thank you, Brenda. And then lastly, where can listeners follow your work and connect with EXP Kenya?
You can follow EXP across all our social media platforms. On Instagram is where we are most active, EXP Kenya, on LinkedIn, EXP Kenya, on Facebook, EXP Kenya, and then also check with us on our website, www.agency.biz. And we are always happy to get in touch and chat.
Fantastic. Well, that's it. Thank you, Brenda Wachira, Account Director at EXP Kenya. You at home, I hope you learned a lot. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel. And then, of course, until next time, keep on creating and keep being influential. Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Micka on Influence. I hope you're walking away with fresh insights and new ideas to level up your influencing game. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like, and also share with your network. Join the community obsessed with mastering the art and science of influence, because in this space, we don't just follow trends, we create them. Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting, and stay influential.